In ancient biblical times, Megiddo stood as one of the most significant cities in the land of Israel. Its strategic location commanded the exit of Nahal Iron, Wadi Ara, into the Jezreel Valley and overlooked the Way of the Sea, an international trade route that connected the great cultural and political centers of the ancient Near East, Egypt and Mesopotamia. Blessed with natural springs and surrounded by the fertile valley soil at its feet, Megiddo's advantageous position made it an irresistible prize for ambitious rulers. This same prosperity turned the city into a perpetual battleground as various powers fought for control over this strategic location. We find a possible echo of one such battle in the Song of Deborah. The kings of Canaan fought at Taanach by the waters of Megiddo, Judges 5:19. In Christian tradition, Megiddo is identified as Armageddon, the prophesied site of the final battle between the forces of God and evil at the end of days, Revelation 16:16. The Tel is one of Israel's most extensively excavated sites, bears witness to the evolution of archaeological practices through the ages. The site's current appearance largely reflects early excavation methods that prioritized research over visitor experience. Most notably, the University of Chicago's ambitious excavation project between 1925 and 1939 dramatically transformed the Tel's landscape. The Chicago team's original plan was remarkably bold, to excavate the entire Tel layer by layer. They deposited excavated soil along the eastern slope, permanently altering the site's appearance. Their methods, typical of early 20th century archaeology, contrast sharply with today's more precise techniques, significantly influencing our current understanding of the site's artifacts and history. The team successfully exposed 4 complete layers before World War II, forced an early end to the project in 1939, well before their planned completion date of 1945. Their primary goal was to establish a chronological sequence and connect each layer to known historical events and dates. However, what might seem like a destructive approach has provided an unexpected benefit. The massive excavation wound now offers visitors a unique opportunity to observe multiple settlement layers, creating a visible timeline of Tel Megiddo's rich history. As we return to the site's entrance, we encounter a remarkable example of architectural evolution. 2 gates from different historical periods, stacked one above the other. The lower gate, dating to the Late Bronze Age, is a Canaanite structure featuring 4 chambers. It wasn't built for defense. During this period, the city lacked fortification walls. Instead, it served a ceremonial purpose, functioning as the grand entrance to the period's palace complex. Above this Canaanite gate lies its Israelite successor from the Iron Age. This upper gate represents a pivotal moment in Megiddo's history, marking the city's resurrection after the Great Destruction that marked the end of the Bronze Age. During the Kingdom of Israel's reign, Megiddo regained its prominence, and this gate's design reflects the architectural standards of major cities from this era. While archaeologists once attributed its construction to King Solomon's building projects, current researchers at the site believe it was built later, during the reign of Jeroboam II. Megiddo's documented history begins dramatically in the 15th century BCE, first appearing in an Egyptian record during the reign of Pharaoh Thutmose III. This text describes a pivotal battle where Egyptian forces confronted Canaanite kings who, under the protection of the Mitanni kingdom, had rebelled against Egyptian authority. The battle unfolded at the foot of the city, resulting in an Egyptian victory that transformed Megiddo into a crucial Egyptian stronghold. The city's strategic importance continues to echo through ancient texts. In the 14th century BCE, Megiddo appears in the Amarna letters, where we find it as a Canaanite city under Egyptian protection. This period of prosperity came to an abrupt end in the latter half of the 12th century BCE, when the city faced destruction. 2 centuries later, in the mid-10th century BCE, Megiddo resurfaces in historical records on Pharaoh Shishak's list of conquests. Archaeological evidence supports this account, as excavators discovered a victory stele erected by Shishak himself within the city. During the period of the Israelite monarchy, Megiddo experienced remarkable growth and prosperity. The city expanded significantly, marked by ambitious construction projects including palaces, fortification walls, and elaborate stables. While scholars debate whether this golden age occurred during Solomon's reign or later under the Omride dynasty, the city's importance is clear. Megiddo continued to play a central role in regional politics, as evidenced in 2 Kings chapter 9, which records the dramatic death of Judah's king Ahaziah at the hands of Israel's king Jehu. This era of independence ended in 732 BCE, when the Assyrian king Tiglath-Pileser III conquered the city from the Kingdom of Israel, transforming it into an Assyrian province. The discovery of two major stable complexes at Megiddo, one in the north and another in the southwest, provides fascinating insights into the city's role in ancient military and economic affairs. These impressive structures tell us a compelling story about Megiddo's prominence in horse trading and its maintenance of substantial cavalry and chariot units during the Iron Age. Historians attribute these stables to the period of the Israelite monarchy, with compelling evidence from Assyrian records. These texts describe the Battle of Karkar, where King Ahab's army participated with an impressive force of 2,000 chariots, suggesting Megiddo's critical role in military operations. The architectural details of these complexes are particularly intriguing. The southern complex showcases a sophisticated construction technique, using mud bricks placed upon courses of carefully cut stone. These stones were likely repurposed from the destroyed northern palace complex, demonstrating how ancient builders adapted to available resources. Some scholars propose these spaces served multiple purposes beyond housing horses, potentially functioning as storage facilities, marketplaces, and military barracks. The sheer scale of these stable complexes speaks volumes about Megiddo's status. Their presence reflects not only the power of the central government, but also underscores the city's role as a major administrative and military center. This architectural legacy helps us understand how Megiddo maintained its position as a crucial hub of power in the ancient world. From the edge of the southern stables complex, our view extends to the modern Kibbutz Megiddo, creating a striking contrast between ancient and contemporary settlements. Even more impressive is the panoramic vista from the northern observation deck. Here, the full majesty of the Jezreel Valley unfolds before us, with Mount Tabor rising prominently in the distance and the hills of Nazareth forming a dramatic backdrop. This sweeping view helps us understand why ancient rulers considered this location so strategically valuable. The southern palace at Megiddo presents a poignant example of early archaeological practices and their unintended consequences. During the American expedition's excavations, the palace remains were dismantled to access older layers beneath, reflecting an era when preservation wasn't prioritized in archaeological methodology. This approach, while providing valuable information about earlier periods, resulted in the permanent loss of important architectural elements. The palace's historical significance becomes particularly fascinating when we consider its architectural similarity to the northern palace. Near its ruins, archaeologists made a remarkable discovery: a seal bearing the inscription "Belonging to Shema, servant of Jeroboam." This seal, likely referring to King Jeroboam II, represents the oldest discovered artifact mentioning an Israelite king, providing tangible evidence of the biblical narrative. While the palace's construction is attributed to the reign of King Ahab, this seal suggests the building's continued importance through subsequent royal administrations, offering a glimpse into the administrative continuity of ancient Israel. Before us stands a massive granary near the southern palace. The presence of wheat and straw remains discovered between the stones, led researchers to conclude this pit served as a grain storage facility. The columns before us are the remains of a residential structure known as the four-room house, a distinctive architectural style that characterizes many sites from the Israelite period. This building layout became so prevalent during this era that archaeologists consider it a hallmark of Israelite settlement patterns across the region. The design typically consisted of 3 long spaces divided by rows of pillars, creating the eponymous four-room layout that became a standard feature of Israelite domestic architecture. Following the Assyrian conquest in 732 BCE, Megiddo underwent a dramatic transformation, becoming the capital of a regional province under Assyrian rule. This change in status brought significant urban development, as evidenced by the quarter that stands before us. The Assyrians implemented their characteristic city planning principles here, creating a sophisticated grid pattern of intersecting streets, a design known as orthogonal planning. The magnificent water system, Megiddo's crowning achievement, is currently closed to visitors due to fallen stones. To showcase this engineering marvel, we'll explore it through archival images. The system's origins date to the 10th century BCE, when a simple elevated path between parallel walls led to an external spring. Later, during King Ahab's time in the 9th century BCE, engineers developed a far more sophisticated system that protected this vital water source while keeping it accessible to the city's inhabitants. At its heart lies an impressive 25-meter deep shaft carved to bedrock, connecting to a 60-meter tunnel standing 3 meters high. The ingenious design placed the shaft's base below the spring's water level, allowing natural flow into the shaft. This meant residents could safely draw water using ropes and buckets from within the city walls, while a concealing wall hid the spring from potential enemies. This remarkable achievement demonstrates the extraordinary engineering capabilities of ancient builders, who solved the critical challenge of securing water access during sieges while maintaining the city's defenses. Thank you for joining us at Tel Megiddo, one of the most significant archaeological sites in Israel. For thousands of years, this ancient city dominated the region, serving as a crucial crossroads between empires and civilizations. Its rich archaeological layers illuminate biblical narratives and ancient history, from Egyptian dominion through the Israelite monarchy to Assyrian rule. Join us for more explorations of Israel's remarkable archaeological heritage, where every stone tells a story of our past.